Hark, children of the light. I, a messenger of the unseen realm, a witness to the symphony of your lives from a vantage point both within and beyond time, come to you with a truth etched upon the very fabric of existence. It is a simple directive, a binary star system around which a soul can orient its entire journey. A look back and thank God. Look forward and trust God. To your ears, it may sound like a beautiful proverb. To our eyes it is the very mechanics of walking in grace, the rhythm of the breath of faith, the sacred art of looking back. A liturgy of gratitude to a look back is not merely to remember. It is an act of profound spiritual archaeology. You, in your humanity, are often inclined to look upon the past through a lens of regret, nostalgia, or trauma. You see the jagged edges of failure, the ghost of missed opportunities, the scars left by others, and the shadows of your own stumbles. You curate museums of your pain and build monuments to your disappointments, but we see differently. We see the tapestry from the side where the threads are woven together. The dark threads of sorrow are not mere blots, they are the very elements that give depth and contrast to the gold threads of joy, making them shine all the brighter. To look back and thank God is to actively reorient your vision to see as we see to see the divine handiwork in every moment. Consider the times of deliverance you are aware of. The illness healed, the financial need met, the accident narrowly avoided. These are the obvious blessings, and for them gratitude comes easily. But the angelic charge is to give thanks for everything. For the closed door that saved you from a path of ruin, though at the time it felt like a crushing rejection. For the period of solitude that felt like abandonment, but in which you discovered a resilience and a voice you never knew you possessed. For the failure that humbled you, breaking open the shell of your pride to make room for true wisdom to grow. We see the prayers that were answered with or not yet, and we see the greater horror from which you were spared. We see the heartbreak that shattered a version of your life that was too small for the destiny God had in mind for you. When you thank God for all of it, the sunshine and the storm, the feast and the famine, you are not saying the pain was good. You are proclaiming that God is good and His goodness is powerful enough to transmute even the darkest events into instruments of your ultimate blessing and His glory. This gratitude is your weapon against the spirit of despair. It disarms the enemy of your soul, who would have you live in the shackles of if only and you what if. Each utterance of thanks, especially for the difficult chapters, is a declaration that God was sovereign then. He is sovereign now, and His story for you is far from over. It is the act of placing a stone of remembrance, an altar of thanksgiving, on every battlefield of your past, transforming those fields from places of defeat into holy ground where God's faithfulness was proven. The courageous leap of looking forward, the surrender of trust of looking back with gratitude, requires a reorientation of memory. Then looking forward with trust requires a surrender of imagination. The human mind is a magnificent instrument, but it is a terrible prophet. It spins elaborate webs of anxiety, projecting past pains onto a blank future, constructing prisons of worry about things that have not come to pass and likely never will. To look forward and trust God is to consciously refuse to live in those self-constructed prisons. It is to acknowledge that the future is a landscape shrouded in mist, and that your only true guide is the one who sees the end from the beginning. Trust is not a passive resignation. It is an active, energetic reliance. It is the decision to exchange your finite fear-based plans for His infinite love-based purpose. You worry about provision. Will there be enough? Trust says the God who provided manna in the wilderness, who commanded ravens to feed a prophet, who noticed the widow's last mite, has not forgotten you. His economy is not bound by your recession. You worry about purpose. What is my life for? Trust says the one who knit you together in your mother's womb, who gifted you uniquely and placed you in this specific moment in history, has a plan that He is actively working out through your obedience and simple daily faith. You worry about protection. What if something happens? Trust says the one who commands angelic legions, who numbers the very hairs on your head, and who holds your soul in life, is your force. This trust is not blind, it is sighted. It looks away from the frightening shadowy projections of the future, and looks upon the track record of God's faithfulness in your past. This is why the two commands are a cycle. Gratitude fuels trust. The more you thank Him for yesterday's faithfulness, the more you can trust Him with tomorrow's uncertainty. We angels, who move effortlessly in the realm of God's declared will, see this trust as the most beautiful expression of faith. It is the child reaching up to take the hand of the parent in a dark room. The child does not need to see the path. They only need to know the character of the one leading them. Your trust in God delights the heart of the Father more than any other sacrifice, for it is the essence of relationship. The idea of living fully in the present moment sounds simple, but it is not always easy. Life pulls us in two directions, backward to the past with its joys and regrets, or forward to the future with its hopes and worries. Yet God calls us to be right here, right now. How do we do that? By letting gratitude for the past and trust in the future meet in this very moment. When these two come together, they create a powerful way to live, a way that brings peace, purpose, and joy. This sacred practice is like a paradox. Ita, about being fully present while holding two things in your heart: thankfulness for what has been and trust in what will come. When you live this way, you find a peace that does not depend on everything going perfectly. Ita is a peace that comes from knowing God is in charge, and His love holds your life together. This is what it means to live in the eternal present, a moment where God's goodness shines through, no matter what is happening around you. In this essay, we explore what it means to live in the eternal present. We look at why gratitude and trust are so important, how they work together, and how you can practice them every day. From the perspective of heaven, where God's light reveals the beauty of your life, we see how your story is part of His bigger plan. By the end, we'll have practical steps to make gratitude and trust a natural part of your life, helping you find peace and live as a faithful steward of the moment God has given you. The power of gratitude. Gratitude is like a lens that changes how you see the world. When you are thankful, you notice the good things in your life, even when times are tough. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about seeing God's hand in your life no matter what. When you look back and thank God for what He has done, you are saying, "Oh, I see your goodness, I know you are being with me." Think about your life like a book. Every chapter, every moment has a story to tell. Some chapters are full of joy, like the day you got married, held your child for the first time, or achieved something you worked hard for. Other chapters are harder, filled with pain, loss, or mistakes. Gratitude doesn't erase the hard parts, but it helps you see them differently. It shows you that even in the tough times, God was there, working things out for your good. For example, maybe you went through a time when you felt alone or afraid. Looking back, you might see how God sent a friend to encourage you, or how a small moment of hope gave you strength to keep going. When you thank God for those moments, you are agreeing with Him that His story for your life is good, even when it is hard to understand. Gratitude also keeps you grounded. When you are thankful, you cannot be anxious at the same time. It is like trying to hold two opposite things in your hands. One has to let go. When you focus on what God has done, you stop worrying about what might go wrong. You start to see the present moment as a gift, not a problem to solve. This is what it means to be a faithful steward of the now, to take care of the moment God has given you with a heart full of thanks. The strength of trust. If gratitude anchors you in the past, trust lifts your eyes to the future. Trust is about believing that God is in control, even when you cannot see what is coming next. It is about letting go of the need to control everything and instead leaning into God's plan for your life. Life is full of unknowns. Will you get that job? Will your family be okay? What will tomorrow bring? These questions can make you feel anxious or afraid, but trust doesn't mean you ignore reality. It doesn't mean you pretend there are no problems or challenges. Instead, it means you believe God is bigger than those challenges. He is the author of your life, and He knows how the story ends. When you trust Him, You can face the future with excitement, not fear. You can wonder, hey, what beautiful thing will God do next? Instead of worrying, what if everything goes wrong? For example, imagine you starting a new job. You might feel nervous about whether you do well, or if your co-workers will like you. Trusting God does not mean you don't ever feel nervous. It means you believe He guiding you through every step. You can walk into that job knowing that God has a purpose for you there, even if you don't see it yet. Trust also frees you from the need to control everything. So often, we try to plan every detail of our lives, thinking that will keep us safe. But life does not work that way. Things happen that we cannot predict or control. When you trust God, you let go of that need to control. You become a partner in His plan, not the one in charge. This brings a deep sense of freedom and peace. The convergence, gratitude and trust in the present. Gratitude and trust are powerful on their own. But when they come together, they create something even more beautiful. A soul at peace in the present moment. This is the eternal present, the place where the past and future meet in God's presence. When you live in the eternal present, you see every moment as a gift. The sunrise you see in the morning is not just light in the sky. It is a reminder of God's faithfulness. The laughter of a friend is not just a sound. It is a moment of joy God has given you. The tasks you do each day, whether big or small, become opportunities to serve God and others. You are not rushing through life, trying to get to the next thing. You are fully here, cherishing what God has placed in front of you. This way of living creates a peace that the Bible calls peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4:7. It is a peace that does not make sense to the world because it does not depend on everything going your way. It is a peace that comes from knowing God is in control, and His love surrounds you. When you are thankful for the past and trusting for the future, you can face the present with calm confidence. You are not a frantic controller, trying to make everything perfect. You are a faithful steward, taking care of the moment God has given you. Living in the eternal present also changes how you see your life story. From God's perspective, your life is one beautiful narrative. The past, present, and future are all part of His plan. When you look back with gratitude, you see how God has been with you through every chapter. When you look forward with trust, you know He is already preparing the next part of the story. And in the present, you get to live out that story with joy and purpose. A heavenly perspective. Imagine for a moment what it is like to see your life from heaven. Point of view, in God's presence, everything is bathed in His light. From this vantage point, your life is not a series of disconnected moments. It a single glorious story. Every chapter, whether joyful or painful, is woven together with threads of God's love and care. When we, the heavenly beings, look at your life, we see the evidence of God's goodness everywhere. We see the times He carried you through pain, the moments He surprised you with joy, and the ways He worked behind the scenes to bring about His plan. We see how every part of your story fits together, even when it feels messy or confusing to you. From this perspective, gratitude and trust make perfect sense. When you thank God for the past, you are with the truth we see that He has always been faithful. When you trust Him for the future, you are stepping into the reality we know that He is already holding the next chapter in His hands. Your life is a masterpiece, and God is the divine author, weaving every moment into a story that reflects His glory. This heavenly perspective can help you live in the eternal present. When you are tempted to worry about the future, remember that God sees the whole story. When you are stuck in regrets about the past, remind yourself that God has used every moment for your good. By practicing the sacred rhythm. So how do you live this way? How do you make gratitude and trust a natural part of your life? It starts with small, intentional steps. Here are some practical ways to practice the sacred rhythm of gratitude and trust, so you can live fully in the eternal present. 1. Start your day with trust. When you wake up in the morning, before you even get out of bed, take a moment to trust God for the day ahead. Say a simple prayer like, "Oh God, I trust you with today. Guide me and give me strength." This sets the tone for your day, reminding you that God is in control. It helps you face whatever comes with hope instead of fear. You can also try writing down one thing you are trusting God for each day. Maybe it is a meeting at work, a conversation with a friend, or just the strength to get through a tough day. By naming it and giving it to God, you are practicing trust in a real tangible way. 2. End your day with gratitude. At the end of the day, take a few minutes to reflect on what you are thankful for. It could be something big like a promotion at work or something small, like a kind word from a stranger. Write down 3 things you are grateful for in a journal, or simply say them out loud in prayer. This practice helps you see God's goodness in your day, even if it was hard. If you are struggling to feel thankful, start with the basics: a warm bed, food to eat, or the breath in your lungs. As you practice gratitude, you start to notice more and more of God's gifts in your life. 3. Pause in the moment. Throughout your day, take short pauses to bring yourself back to the present. When you are eating lunch, notice the taste of your food. When you are talking to someone, really listen to them. When you are outside, look at the sky or feel the breeze. These moments of mindfulness help you stay anchored in the now, where gratitude and trust meet. You can also use a simple phrase to bring yourself back to the present. Try saying, "I thank you, God, for this moment. I trust you with it." This reminds you to see the moment as a gift, and to trust God with whatever it holds. 4. Look for God's hand as you go through your day. Keep an eye out for signs of God's presence. Maybe it is a kind gesture from a coworker, a beautiful sunset, or a moment of strength when you felt weak. These are reminders that God is with you, working in your life. When you notice them, thank Him. This habit trains your heart to see His goodness everywhere. 5. Share your story. One of the most powerful ways to live in the eternal present is to share your story with others. Tell people about the ways God has been faithful in your past. Share how you are trusting Him for the future. When you do this, you are not only strengthening your own faith, you are encouraging others to live with gratitude and trust. 2. Your life becomes a testimony to God's goodness, like a prayer that rises to heaven and inspires those around you. There is a quiet rhythm that God invites every soul to discover, a rhythm that is not found in the chaos of the world or the hurried pace of human striving, but in the still turning of gratitude and trust. Gratitude is the heart's gentle remembrance of what God has already done, the acknowledgement of His love poured into the past. Trust is the sola steady leaning upon His faithfulness yet to be revealed in the days to come, and together when these two movements flow as one, they become a song of peace written on the canvas of daily life. The sacred rhythm steadies the spirit, even in the storms that rise without warning, for the one who lives in it does not find themselves tossed helplessly about. Instead, they are held by a peace that cannot be explained or defined by human reason, a peace that flows only from the heart of God Himself. When you enter this way of living, when your days begin to draw in this music and your nights rest upon its melody, something within you shifts. You discover that the moments you once rushed through now hold treasures hidden in plain sight. The simple act of waking becomes a reminder that God has blessed you with a new day, a new beginning, in which you may know Him more deeply and love others more fully. The tasks you once considered ordinary gain the quiet dignity of being woven into the eternal fabric of God's plan. Even the interruptions, even the obstacles, begin to carry hints of grace, as if they were secret invitations to step closer into the presence of the One who holds all things together. To cultivate this rhythm is to find yourself more present in your own journey. You no longer live imprisoned in the regrets of yesterday, nor in the anxieties of tomorrow, but in the living moment where God meets you face to face. You see His gifts scattered at wise overwhelm. The more you notice, the more you see, and the more you see, the more your heart cannot help but overflow in thanksgiving. Gratitude becomes not an act you perform, but a posture that shapes every step and decision. When gratitude fills the past and trust covers the future, life itself is transfigured. Prayers cease to be merely words spoken in particular hours and instead become the language of existence itself. Every action, every thought, every sigh, becomes a prayer because all of it becomes offered to God in thanksgiving and trust. This is the fragrance of faith, the invisible yet unmistakable perfume of a life devoted wholly to God. The scriptures speak of this fragrance as an offering pleasing and beautiful to the Lord. When your life flows with gratitude and trust, you carry this fragrance wherever you go, into your family, into your work, into the marketplace and the quiet places of rest. Those around you may not always fully understand its source, but they will sense in you a peace, a hope, and a light that draws them nearer to the one who is your strength. This way of living does not happen overnight, and yet it is always available in the present moment. Every breath gives you a chance to choose it anew. When you look back upon your past, you can train your mind not to dwell on the wounds and the failures alone, but on how God's love has carried you through, even when you did not perceive it. When you surrender your future into His hands, you loosen the chains of control that so often weigh down the soul. You allow Him to be the keeper of your tomorrows, trusting that His strength is sufficient, and His wisdom unsearchable. And when you settle into the present, you walk with Him hand in hand, moment by moment, fully alive in the eternal now. The truth is that every moment belongs to Him, and every heartbeat is sustained by His will. To live with gratitude and trust is to recognize that you are not the master of your existence but the beloved child of the Eternal One. The angels who stand before His throne, who see His face without veil, testify of His worthiness. He is faithful beyond measure, good beyond words, loving beyond comprehension. They look upon His majesty and know that He is trustworthy with the smallest details and the grandest designs of creation alike. To them it seems a simple thing, yet they understand the struggle of those who walk the earth, veiled by time and burdened by limited vision, and so they call out, urging every child of God to embrace this sacred pattern. Those heavenly voices echo into the chambers of human hearts. Live with gratitude, live with trust. Begin your morning with a surrender, letting the first light that enters your eyes remind you that the day belongs not to your own strength but to God's providence. Speak within your spirit, even if you do not utter words aloud, the simple offering of trust. This day is yours. Lead me, guard me, use me. Allow every plan, every meeting, every path you must take to be held within His greater wisdom. This posture does not mean neglecting your responsibilities, rather, it transforms them. Your work, your decisions, your labor become offerings sanctified when placed in His hands. And when the evening closes in, when you set aside the tasks and the tiredness of the day, lift your heart in gratitude. Remember the mercies that carried you from dawn to dusk. They may come as clear victories, or they may be disguised as challenges that taught you patience and trust. Whatever form they take, perceive them as the evidence of His hand at work. Let your last thoughts before sleep be thanksgiving, so that even your rest becomes worship, a continuation of the prayer your life is becoming. Throughout the day itself, find pauses where you breathe deeply and anchor yourself in the present as God's gift. In the midst of conversations, in the routine of chores, in the stillness of waiting rooms, remember that there is grace in the no. This moment is not accidental or empty. It is chosen by God for your pilgrimage, infused with possibilities for love and faithfulness. Treat each moment with reverence, for it is unrepeatable and eternal in significance. The more you, in this way, your life is shaped into a testimony that others cannot ignore. They see one who is not crushed by anxiety, though storms rage around them. They notice one who endures sorrows but does not become hopeless, one who rejoices in small blessings without taking them for granted. Your words carry weight because they are flavored with gratitude, and your actions carry peace because they are rooted in trust. Without trying to draw attention to yourself, you point hearts to God as naturally as light shines and fragrance spreads. You become another witness in harmony with those in heaven, that He is indeed worthy of all thanksgiving and worthy of all trust. This journey is not without trial. Gratitude and trust are not always easy. There will be days where sorrow looms large, where prayers seem unanswered, where the weight of uncertainty oppresses the mind. In those moments, gratitude may feel forced and trust may feel fragile. Yet it is especially then that the Practice becomes most powerful. To choose gratitude when the heart aches is to declare that Goda, love, is bigger than present circumstances. To choose trust when the path is unclear is to proclaim that His faithfulness extends beyond what your eyes can see. Every time you choose in such moments, your soul is strengthened, your faith deepened, and your life shaped more fully into the fragrance of faith. Even the very wounds of life can be transformed within this rhythm. When you look back upon seasons of difficulty, with a heart of gratitude, you find new meanings and hidden mercies you could not see at the time. God has been present at every step, weaving redemption even out of pain. And when you look toward the future with trust, you no longer bear the unbearable weight of needing to know or control what lies ahead. You surrender, and in surrender you are free. The eternal present then becomes not merely an idea, but the very reality you inhabit, as if heaven itself touches earth in each moment you give to God. The celestial voices assure that heaven rejoices in such transformations. When a child of earth chooses to live this way, it is as light shining upon the world, a beauty that enriches the eternal story God is writing. Your life, your unique, ordinary, extraordinary life, becomes a thread in the tapestry of eternity, woven with care into the purposes of God. He has not overlooked a single moment, not a single tear, not a single joy. All of it belongs to Him, all of it sanctified when offered in gratitude and trust. So let your life be a song, gentle but constant. Let your mornings begin in surrender, your nights close in thanksgiving, your days flow in awareness that each moment is a gift. Let the fragrance of faith rise from all you are and all you do. The storms will not vanish, but the peace of God will stand guard over your heart. The uncertainties will not cease, but His faithfulness will prove itself. Again and again, you will find yourself living not only a life of prayer but a life that is itself a prayer, a radiant testimony to His love. And from the throne of heaven, the angels will rejoice to see your story shine with His light, a beautiful offering in the eternal present that never ends.